At 11:47 p.m., the city still looked beautiful, but inside Seraphina's apartment, something was already beginning to break. It happened quietly, just one message, and suddenly, the life she thought she was walking towards no longer existed. Months before that night, Serafina had the kind of life people admire from a distance: fame, success, attention, and the illusion that everything was in place. But beautiful lives are not always peaceful lives, because even in the middle of success, she was still searching for something fame could never give her. And then, one night, in the middle of a performance, someone in the crowd looked at her differently. Not like a star, like a person. It didn't begin with fireworks, it began with attention and a conversation that felt strangely safe and easy from the very start. After that night, they kept finding reasons to see each other again. At first, it was casual, then it became familiar. And somewhere in that familiarity, something softer began to take shape. With Julian, silence never felt awkward, it felt safe. Their best moments were never the loud ones, the ordinary ones that slowly became unforgettable. And without even realizing it, Seraphina began to relax into the kind of closeness she had wanted for a long time and the kind that felt like home. That was the season when love felt simple, the season when the future still looked soft and certain. And sometimes all it takes is one quiet promise to make a guarded heart decide to believe. For a while, Julian became her steady place. Even in rooms full of pressure, he made the noise feel further away. In the middle of the chaos, he felt familiar, and familiarity can feel a lot like safety when you need it most. It was one night especially that seemed to hold everything they were, not just love, but partnership. When they stepped onto the stage together, the crowd saw chemistry, but Serafina felt something deeper. She felt purpose, the kind of connection that makes you believe love and calling can live in the same place. And standing beside him under all that light, she allowed herself to believe it fully. This was real, this was lasting. But distance rarely begins in one dramatic moment. It begins in the quiet places: missed calls, delayed replies, words left hanging. At first, she told herself he was tired, that she was reading too much into small changes. But there comes a point where your heart notices what your mind is still trying to excuse. And the silence in that car told her more than words could have. Some people began leaving long before they say goodbye. When it finally ended, it didn't end in a slammed door or a final argument. It ended with a message. Some heartbreaks do not explode. They simply remove the ground beneath your feet while the rest of the world keeps moving. She met him one last time, not to beg, but because the heart always hopes truth will sound softer when spoken aloud. But closure is rarely handed to us. Most of the time, we have to create it ourselves and walk away with it. The days after that blurred together. Morning became afternoon and afternoon became another night. She did not know how to get through it. Grief didn't arrive like thunder. It arrived like silence, turning down the volume on everything. 2 weeks later, she left the apartment, not because she felt ready, but because staying has started to feel like disappearing. And then, through a cafe window, she saw something small and honest, a voice that was imperfect but real. And in that moment, something shifted. Not healing yet, just the first flicker of a return. That night, she opened the notebook she had abandoned months earlier. For a long time, she only stared at the page. Then the words came, not perfectly, not all at once, but honestly. Healing did not return in one dramatic wave. It came in the spaces between trying, stopping, and trying again. It came in ordinary forms: a walk, a breath, a morning that felt just a little lighter than the one before. It came in small signs she almost missed. A room put back in order, a page filled, a laugh she didn't expect to hear from herself. And then one night she stood alone under the spotlight, not as someone destroyed, but as someone rebuilt. One of the strangest gifts of surviving
I just
pain
wanted
is
to tell you
realizing
that
it
your
can
music
become a
means so
map for
much to me.
someone else's survival
Thank
too.
you, thank you.
And somehow, alone, she looked more powerful than she ever
Silence
had
in this
standing beside him.
crowded
Not because
room
she
is
had lost less,
loud.
but because she had found herself. Months passed, and slowly, Seraphina built a life that no longer depended on someone else choosing to stay. So when Julian finally
Oh my god, I
returned with
can't believe you
words,
said
they no
that.
longer had the power to rearrange her piece.
I'll never
Sometimes
forget this
people
moment.
enter your life not to stay,
It's
but
just
to
not
reveal
working,
the
Sarah.
places where you have
That's it.
abandoned yourself. She losing him meant losing love, but what she really lost was an illusion. And in the end, losing the love she thought was forever became the very thing that led her back to herself. The end.